In today's video, we're going to look at options for you if you're buying a property and don't want to put your partner on the title.
Or the best way to structure your next investment property.
Including one loan structure that completely frightens the banks. You definitely want to avoid it.
So let's dive right in.
All right, Nathan, I guess starting off, why would you want two people on the loan but only one person on the title of the property? What's the point of that?
Well, this all depends on your individual circumstances. We see this a lot with people in business or in industries where there's a high chance of litigation. The reason why they'd want one person on the title and not two would be that the fact that the business owner might have a high chance of getting litigation against them and they want to protect themselves from this, so they put their partner's name on the property only. So Jayden, the question is, are banks always going to accept this structure of having two people on the loan and one person on the title?
No. So unfortunately, the banks can get really critical here. And again, it changes between the banks because ultimately they want to make sure there's a benefit for there being two people on the mortgage and one person on the title. So like I said in the example of Nathan and I, if we were buying a property together and the property was just in Nathan's name, some banks would consider me a borrower of convenience because I might be using my income to prop up the loan while the property is completely owned by Nathan and he gets all the benefit in owning the property.
And this is where the banks will come in and look at a substantial benefit. So they'll look at the situation and understand what's the substantial benefit of this particular structure to all parties involved.
So Nathan, the most common structure that we see is having a spouse on the title but having both partners on the mortgage. So is this okay if you're buying a property to say live in?
The answer to that is yes, it's definitely okay. We see this structure all the time, and particularly in circumstances where your spouse might not be a citizen or permanent resident in Australia, and there's gonna be higher duties applicable.
So Nathan, there are a few different variations on this and reasons why you might have your spouse on the title, and a few reasons why you might have your spouse, only one person on the title and two people on the mortgage. Another common one is maybe one of the partners is not working. So you need to use the income from both partners and maybe only one person will be on the title. So we do see it a lot, but like we said earlier, not all banks like this structure. So you just need to be wary about where you're applying. So Nanos, I guess to that, can a non-spousal relationship, so if you and I were buying a property, can we both be on the loan, but only I'm on the title and I own the property because we're not married or anything, obviously?
The answer to that one there, Jayden, is no. So if you've got two unrelated parties, so not being married, not in a de facto relationship, like Jayden and I here as an example, we're brothers, looking to buy a property, having the loan in both our names, but the title in Jayden's name, that is not a structure that the banks would take on because there's no benefit for the party, such as me, to be on the loan, but not on the title.
In other words, you're not going to own the property. Another question that we get asked, and we're obviously not tax agents, but in general, if you're buying an investment property and the loan is in both names, so say in a husband and a wife's name, but the title or the property is owned just in the wife's name, can the wife still claim all the tax deductions? And the answer is yes, it depends on the property ownership. So there's actually a tax ruling on this. I'll include a link below. It's TR 93/32. That states that the owner of the property claims the tax deduction. So it doesn't matter that the loan's in both names. If it's in her name, the tax deduction is hers to have.
So make sure you get that checked by your tax accountant just to make sure of all the particulars there. And another thing we do see for the investors is that sometimes they'll have the title in one person's name because you might be close to your land tax threshold, which depending on the state, you have a certain amount of land you can own in your own name before you start getting charged land tax. So that's another reason why sometimes we see couples structure it so one of them own the property but both are on the loan.
And then I guess down the same vein, and a question that we're also asked from a YouTube viewer is, can I add someone on my title of the property? So if I've got a loan that's just in my name, if I want to add my new partner onto the loan and the title, can I do that? Can I just add them on the title and the bank's all cool, or what's the process?
There is no issues with adding another person on your property title. Just remember to be aware that there may be stamp duty triggered. So this is a one-off cost payable to the government in the event that the title ownership changes. So do keep that in mind, and you might also need to approach your mortgage broker to have the loan updated into two names as well.
That's right, Nathan. So remember, if you were to add a partner to the loan, you'd have to go through a full reassessment. So the bank would want to look at both your pay slips, your income information, potentially look at the loan conduct to make sure it's all good, and they'll reapprove the loan. So I guess wrapping it up, 2 people on the loan, 1 person on title, all comes down to the benefit. Why are you doing it? If both people are living in the property, or if both people are going to gain in some reason, then most banks will consider the scenario. If we're just doing it as a borrow of convenience, like we said with Nathan and I, it's potentially not going to work. The other advantage is asset protection. So that's why we see it really commonly with professions that are likely to get litigated. Natos?
So that's it for today, guys. If you found value from our video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.